Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Realtree, Muddy Outdoors, Frigid Forage, Hoyt Archery, Fuse Accessories, Rocket Broadheads, Scott Archery, Redneck Hunting Blinds, Cabela's, Bloodsport Arrows, Trophy Rock, Yeti Coolers, Non-Typical Wildlife Solutions, Quiet Cat, Deer Grow, Icon Cameras, and Nikon.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. Hopefully you had a nice Christmas. We're back in the fields now. The firearm seasons are over here in Iowa. And on this week's episode, we're going to bring you a lot of late season hunting action. It's going to begin and end with my hunt this evening. I'm heading back into a big food plot down in the bottom down here that's it's famous for producing a lot of deer sightings. So I'm pretty sure we'll have some deer to show you before the episode's over with, but not so certain that we can get them within bow range, but we'll certainly give it a try. In the meantime, please enjoy the action that we've got for you in today's episode, and I'll check in with you at the end.
Besides hunting the peak of the rut, I can't think of any conditions that I enjoy hunting more than these cold, snowy days in the late season. You know, the deer have been hunted for 3 months, they're on edge. You know, everything about it is a challenge. And the spot that I'm hunting tonight is kind of in the heart of Mike's farm. It's kind of the go-to spot, big timber, bedding area all around it. And the deer basically come from every direction and just kind of pour in here in the evenings with the northwest wind, which is what I have tonight. It takes my scent kind of down over this big ravine back behind the stand, so it's fairly safe from that regard. Only thing is, every now and then I feel the wind kicking from the west, and that would kind of cut off any deer that are coming from the southeast. But I've got the ozonics unit running above me, so hopefully that'll minimize the risk of getting winded tonight. But hopefully I can get a shot at either a mature doe or one of the 8-pointers that Mike has been seeing in this area. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what comes out here tonight.
This food plot is obviously a great location to hunt. It always has been. And one of the things that really makes it work, especially for late season hunting, is the way that the stand is positioned in the tree. It's turned so it's facing away from the food plot, so you have the trunk of the tree to hide behind. And the way the terrain lays in this food plot, most of the deer end up feeding at about eye level with you, 60 to 70 yards away. So you can't really get away with a lot of movement. But in this case, having that trunk to hide behind makes all the difference in the world. Every now and then a deer would look in my direction, and as long as I didn't move and stayed hidden behind the trunk, they would relax and go back to feeding. So something as simple as the way the stand is positioned in the tree, giving yourself some cover to hide behind, can make the difference between having a quality hunt and having an empty food plot and a lot of educated deer in that area.
Well, that was exciting. The field was starting to fill up with deer, and I was just going to let that doe go, but she was right in my wheelhouse about 20 yards away, and I didn't see any bucks in the area, so I decided to go ahead and take a doe. There's still deer off to the east of me that look like they're going to come back out. That's the thing about this late season hunting. These deer have already cleared the field once, and then they just came right back, so looked like I made a good hit, just a couple inches behind the shoulder, just the perfect height. She went up over the hill and I'm pretty sure she didn't go too far. So, like I said, I love this late season bow hunting, shooting a deer in the snow. And the good thing is the deer to the east are starting to come back, and I can see the deer back to the north and west of me are starting to come back too. So, didn't do any damage, filled my doe tag, and now I'm going to knock up another arrow, and hopefully a mature buck will come out.
All right, well, I recovered the doe I shot tonight and got her out of the immediate area. So I just want to touch quick on my exit strategy for this evening's hunt. Obviously, there was a lot of deer on the plot at the end of legal shooting time, and it was too dark to film. And I was hoping that somehow, maybe something else, coyotes or something, would spook the deer and they would leave her on their own. I didn't want to draw their attention to the stand location. But it was apparent that wasn't going to happen. It was time to get down and to go recover this doe. And the spike kind of gave me the perfect opportunity. I was able to just make a little bit of movement with my hand, get his attention, then moved a little bit more, and that was enough to spook him. He took off and then took all the other deer with him, so it cleared the food plot. And I hate spooking deer, but I think this was about the best possible outcome. Fortunately, it was a young deer, about as naive a deer as out there. And it's a lot better than spooking mature doe that may come back through that area, be looking in the tree, and just cause problems in the future. I would highly doubt the spike is going to cause any problems. So that worked well to intentionally spook him, and in turn he spooked all the other deer, cleared the food plot, and then I was able to get out of there, recover the doe quickly. Another important consideration for this late season hunting is just making sure that you're shooting your bow, making sure it's still sighted in after it's been 3 months, September, October, November, hauling my bow around in the field, in and out of vehicles. So I know it sounds pretty common sense, but it's one of those things that's easy just to let slip. It's just to grab your bow and go out hunting. You're really doing yourself a favor, and ultimately the deer a favor too, by making sure that your bow is still sighted in. And that way, when you get to that moment of truth, you have as much confidence as possible, and hopefully make that shot count.
Dad's shotgun hunt is just about to wind up. We're going right down to the wire here. We're back in the redneck blind where we spent a good part of the 9 days. The darn weather has been so warm and been a lot of south winds. Not optimal. We're not normally set up for those type of conditions, so and we've got this beautiful food here in front of us. I mean, we've been having about 15 deer or so come in here just about every night. We're also competing with, across the road, they've had about 25-30 acres of standing corn that they just combined today. They're actually just finishing it up today, so I'm not sure that's going to help us today or not, but there had to be some deer living in that corn, so we're hoping that some of those deer come out here. Or at least have to relocate and start enjoying these beans that we have here in front of us. Thinking back on the week here, we started hunting Saturday, didn't have too much luck. We saw some deer. We bounced back and forth a couple times to the other farm. I think we sat over there two or three nights. Sunday was a complete washout. We got 3.5 inches of rain. There were flood warnings. It was just a quagmire. So we got back after it Monday, didn't have too much success, didn't see too much, and then Tuesday night from this same location, right at last light, Flat Top Junior walks out, and my dad just wasn't comfortable with the shot. We had just barely enough camera light left. It was probably 5 or 10 minutes of legal hunting time, but you run out of camera light sooner, and there was just enough camera light, but he just didn't feel comfortable making the shot in those dark conditions. It was a cloudy, windy day, so it got dark earlier. This morning, I guess what is today, Saturday, We were hunting up in the timber in the morning. We'd hunted a couple of mornings and we kept seeing the deer cross further down in the food plot. So we had a south wind and we sat up in there where the wind actually blows over the ridge and hoping to catch some of those does coming through. Well, we had a young doe come through, gosh, I don't know, 9:30 or something. And she walked all the way down the food plot and my dad made a great shot. Good job.
Well, I don't know if we got him. If I don't lose him, we'll let it go.
There she is. You can see the stand we shot her at. She probably didn't go more than 30, 35 yards. I'm surprised we didn't see her full.
Good shot, buddy.
What?
Good shot.
Thank you.
So, I guess this comes down to tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. I got an idea for maybe trying something in the morning. We'll see how that goes. But it's been a fun week. Flat top narrowly escaped again. And I guess I just hope Flat Top or Decoy 8 shows up again. He made a picture of him like right at the beginning of last week coming from that standing corn into these beans, but it was the middle of the night. So I thought that was a deer we were going to be able to get on for sure. And I think he's been spending time across the street, but maybe now that that corn's picked, that'll be better. The tag my dad has left is still for a buck or a doe, so if we've got a big doe standing out here at the end of the night, we'll see. Maybe we'll fill that tag as well. So that's the report. We're settled in. Very comfortable here in the redneck blind. We've got our fingers crossed that something big steps out tonight. Right?
Right.
That's right.
Right, tonight's tonight.
Tonight is the night?
Right.
You feel it?
Yeah, I can feel it.
Where do you feel it? Like in your fingers or your head?
It's starting to get white again.
Your fingers are tingling?
Yeah. It's frostbite.
You know what? You didn't even eat a sandwich in the blind this year.
I know. I got a candy burning on.
Alright. Hold on a second. Wait a minute, I'm not ready. You pull it. You're ready. Take your time. I'm ready. She's down. She's down right there.
We just shot a big doe. We're almost out of daylight. And this is our last day, so we thought we'd take a chance and see if we could get her. She's laying down by the edge of the beans right now, so I think we did good.
Shot this doe right at, a little before quitting, and then made it into the brush, so we went back and we checked the film, and it looked like a good shot, but had a good time down here this week. Had a lot of fun hunting with Scott, hunted with a couple of his friends, and it was a nice time. I really enjoy this. I'm glad I can still do this stuff. It's been a good week.
Almost 4 o'clock, 3:58. Hour and 15 minutes.
No deer.
Yeah, it's terrible.
The outfitter's gonna hear about this.
Right, get my money back.
I got him write a bad review about Scott's Outfitting Company on his Facebook page.
Alright, welcome to Midwest Whitetail. It's the last day of second shotgun season here in northern Illinois. Down on the bottom, I checked my cameras last night and I haven't had any bucks coming into my food plots in the last 2 weeks, so I'm not sure what's going on. I think it might have to do with all the snow we had and it melted, and I think the creek came up over the bank, so it kind of pushed them out. So not too confident, but you never know what can happen, so we're going to head on in. To give you guys a little update while we're sitting here on Scott and I's season during the rut, for the most part, it was pretty slow. We didn't see a whole lot of rutting activity here in Illinois. We hunted the first week here in Illinois. The first day out, Scott shot a real nice buck, and then after that, we didn't see another shooter buck in Illinois. We hunted the Skinny Pinch, which I know a lot of you are wondering about. We hunted that 2 days in November. The first day, we didn't see a single deer until last light we saw a doe and a couple of fawns. And then the second day we had a couple smaller bucks come through, a decent 8-pointer, but he was broke off his one main beam was broke off, so we didn't shoot him. And then after that we headed to Missouri, and Missouri was the same thing. It was really slow. First day out we saw a nice 10-pointer off in the distance, and then the week itself was slow, and then Friday Scott was able, I think it was Thursday, Scott was able to shoot a nice 8-pointer on my dad's farm. But other than that, it was weird. The rut just seemed like we missed it. Whether, maybe we should have been in Missouri when we were in Illinois and vice versa. But a lot of our friends didn't see the rutting activity that they normally see here in Illinois either. So not really sure what happened. I know during the first week of November it was really warm here. It was in the 70s, so that could have played a little part in the deer movement. One other hunt that I wanted to share with you is my dad's hunt there on his property in Missouri. We went out first day of gun season, and he was able to shoot a really big 6-pointer, an old deer.
What do you say about that, Pops? Awesome. I've been hunting for 12 days and I haven't got a shot. You wait here 10 minutes. Oh man, I love you. That's your first deer on your own property, buddy.
I know. Went about 50 yards from where I shot him. He's a mature buck. Pretty excited. My first Missouri deer.
It was an awesome hunt. It was a fun hunt with my dad. Usually during gun season I always hunt with him, so that was really awesome to see him get his first deer on his property. We're pretty excited about the Missouri farms. We were able to get 2 big bucks down. I'm still going to go back for a late season hunt yet this year, and maybe get a buck down myself there. But we got a lot of plans for next year. A lot more food plots. We're going to get some of the farm put into crops, so that should help. And just every year we're going to do something to try to make it better for hunting. So right now I'm just going to try to shoot a doe and then wait for the cold weather to come in.
My hunt this evening is pretty typical of what we've been seeing throughout the entire late season so far. Not a lot of activity on this food plot. We've seen, I think, 5 or 6 deer so far. If I'd have been turkey hunting, I would have been in the chips, though, that's for sure. But we just haven't had the cold temperatures that we need to kick these deer into these spots. And I don't see any big changes in the forecast. Looks like there's going to be some dips in January, but I'm afraid it's going to be after our season closes. The extended forecast is consistently warmer than normal. So you may be finding yourself in the same situation. If so, I don't have any great advice for you. I do think, though, from what we've seen, that the deer are hitting the green foods a little bit harder than what they're hitting the grain. I've got a big and beastie plot up on the hill, and I was getting tons and tons of photos on there. And that plot's just getting tore up. And obviously they're not hitting the beans, at least not nearly as hard as what they're hitting the green, the green stuff. Clover, the Pure Trophy Clover food plot right below our house is getting deer activity on it, and I haven't seen anything there since September practically. So that might be the only piece of advice I can offer, is getting around the green food sources might be the key. But otherwise all you can do is just put your time in and hope that the further you get from the hunting seasons and from the pressure from the hunting seasons, the deer are going to get more comfortable coming out in daylight. Even if they aren't super hungry or super stressed, you might still catch that nice shooter buck coming out during the daylight at some point yet. So that's the hope, and we're going to stick with it. But anyway, we're going to come back and hit it pretty hard once the season rolls into the 2016 calendar. Well, I appreciate you joining us. We'll see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail. And remember to always dream big.
Late season shotgun hunt in Iowa. It's the 5th day. I've been out every day so far. I guess Sunday we didn't go out because of the rain. My son had to go back, so I got Drew with me. And maybe we had better luck. When I was out here with Greg last night, we had flat tack came out, but right at dark, and it would have been a hard shot, so we let him go. It was about 70 yards away, so we're hoping he comes out 15 minutes earlier tonight.
Perfect. Flat top.